Welcome, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. We got another video of energy healing today. And as always, we have the lovely Alina with us. So Alina, please take it away as usual.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to connect with all of you in another brand new episode. And in this episode, we talk about how to heal narcissism with energy healing. So I think that most of us, we know the definition of narcissism, but I still would want to give the definition of narcissism for those of you who don't know about this yet. So this is identified as cluster B personality disorder, which is a combination of excessive self-obsession that leads to abusive behaviors like gaslighting, projection, triangulation, and manipulation. So some of the traits of narcissism is self-obsession, inflated grandiose ego, entitlement, no empathy for others. They are control freak. They see people as objects. They dehumanize people. They are not open to criticism. They have excessive narcissistic rage. They are extremely manipulative. They do gaslighting, projection, triangulation, and they appoint flying monkeys to control their victim. There are some types of narcissism, basically the covert and the overt. The overt is very direct and open, and the covert is very manipulative and secretive. They are not narcissistic to everyone, and they act like they're normal people out in the society, but inherently they're very narcissistic, and it gets very difficult for the victim to prove their abuse because they're very covert. So there are malignant narcissistic people, they're extreme level of narcissist. And other than that, if you can categorize that in three basic category, there are low, mid, and extreme level narcissistic people. And there are many types of narcissistic people as well. You can go to YouTube and watch the videos and know about them. Okay, so one basic question that a lot of people ask me is narcissism a choice or is it a very unconscious behavior? Well, the basic thing is, if the children below the age 5 are projecting any kind of narcissistic behavior, that is taken as a normal thing, because a child of that age doesn't have that ability to think about others, to care about others. The only thing that they care about in the world is their own comfort and their own need. So when the child is not letting the parent go outside of the home to do their work, not letting them be alone and stuff, it's quite a childish behavior, and that is normal. But when the child grows up and to be an adult and they show these narcissistic behaviors, then that is not normal, because adult people have their brain developed and ego developed in a way where they can make the conscious and unconscious choices about their behavior, what they want to cultivate and what they don't want to cultivate. See, we adult people, when we get lazy and unproductive, and we do the personal development thing to get rid of those unhealthy behaviors and attachments, right? So if we can do that, this adult narcissistic people, when they see that they're inclined towards abusive behavior, they can also, if they want to, can let go of their behaviors, but they don't want to. So you can say that adulthood narcissism is a choice. Narcissistic people, that they know that they are being narcissistic, and they select the victim in a way that gives them the privilege to take advantage of them. All right, so the reasons behind developing narcissism could be childhood trauma, abandonment, rejection, poverty. It could also be overindulgence from parents. It could be something like cultural practice, like in some Asian countries, the culture itself is very toxic and abusive. The way that they exist, it's a survival mechanism for them. You feel good when you belittle others. You feel good when you insult others. That's how they survive. Okay, and if you look at the patriarchal society in the entire world, it is designed in a way to subjugate women. So you can say that men generally are narcissistic to women. And patriarchal society is also in a way that they prey on weak men, right? So these toxic men, they feel that the men that are strong, they can knock down the weaker men compared to them, and they can take their properties and whatever, like whatever they have, the credit of the work and everything. So patriarchal society in a way is a narcissistic society. Next we have is neurological imbalance, that narcissistic people are born with a kind of brain structure that, you know, the part of the brain that is responsible for holding compassion for others, that part of the brain is quite inactive.
Okay.
Okay. So now we will see the spiritual reasons behind narcissism. Okay. So it all goes back to our human origin, our ET ancestors. So as you know, in the planet Earth, we have the Homo habitus, a natural species that were developing very naturally and organically until some of the ET beings came down to Earth to colonize Earth. They needed, some of them, they needed the resources like some of the minerals, like the gold, for their spaceship, and they have some disorder in their planets, in their environment. And to bring balance in their environment, they needed some of the resources from planet Earth. So beings from Orion, Sirian, Pleiadian, Andromedan star system, they came down here. Some of the ETs were good. They helped us. They taught us science, physics, how to use fire, the knowledge of electricity, mathematics, and they helped us grow and evolve. But the other ET beings, they exploited us. And what they did basically was they mixed their DNA with the DNA of then present Homo habitus and created our present civilization, the Homo sapien race, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these beings that I'm going to refer to, the narcissistic origin, Anunnakis, reptilian beings, draconians, archons, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are so many evidence in history, like in Egypt, in the pyramids, in the walls, there's been symbols, the evidence that they came down from a spaceship and they did the hybridization program. They trying to groom us in a way, teaching us things. And look at the size of their skull. They were bigger and taller than us. And we have 98% mutant DNA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only 2% of our DNA is activated. Okay, so as you can see, a lot of people, when they ask me about what is the reason behind the soulless reptilian eye of those narcissistic people, this is the reason. Because as you can see, the eye of the snake, crocodile, reptilians, the way that they look at the prey is almost narcissistic people. You'll see their eye almost having the same kind of vibe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this narcissistic ETs, they were very war-loving. They loved inflicting discrimination, racism, war, fighting, this kind of traits. So a lot of the people, because we are the descendants of them, we also, there were like good Anunnakis and the bad Anunnakis. So here in this planet, we have the empaths and we have the narcissistic people. Right.
Okay.
So let's try to see some of the astrological reasons behind narcissism. The people that are narcissistic. So if someone would have afflicted sun, moon, or ascendant lord, they can become narcissistic. Why? Because sun is your soul. So when sun is conjunct with malefic planets like Rahu, Mars, Venus, they can become narcissistic to others. Rahu is the amplifier. I mean, Sun is the ego, and the Rahu will multiply the ego. So you'll have the grandiose ego. Mars is about abusive behavior. Sun and Mars conjunct will make the person very, very abusive. Sun and Venus conjunct, what it does is Sun dries out the qualities of the Venus. Venus is about harmonious relationship. So it's almost like the bright sun is drying out the water and making it evaporate. So Sun-Venus conjunct will make a person very narcissistic, and whenever they have a relationship, they will drain the other person. Next, we have Moon conjunct Rahu or Mars. Again, Rahu is your grandiose ego. Mars is abusive behavior. Moon is your mind. So when Moon is conjunct with this naturally malefic planets, someone can become a narcissistic person, because narcissistic person have abnormal thoughts in their brain. All right. So Mars is about action. When Mars is afflicted with Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, Moon, or Venus, they can become abusive to others. I mean, their action will be abusive actions. Mars and Saturn can make someone a murderer. Like if it's positive, then it can make someone an engineer or architect. But if it's negative, it can make someone a murderer. Okay, Mars and Rahu is again extremely abusive people. Mars and Ketu, again, these people might be abusive to themselves or abusive to others as well. Mars and Moon, again, very abusive. They have abusive mothers, or probably they're abusive to other women. Mars and Venus, extremely bad, because these men are abusive to women. Okay, so if someone would have planets in the nakshatra of Sun, Rahu, or Mars, they can become narcissistic. Signs that are responsible for narcissism would be Leo, Cancer, Scorpio, Virgo, Gemini, Capricorn, but other ascendant people might also become narcissistic. Then if they're running through a malefic planet's time cycle, that can give them their high degree malignant narcissistic trait. And try to understand the fire signs. The fire signs people would be more physically abusive. Water sign people would be more mentally abusive. Air sign people would be more verbally abusive. That also has to do with the cultural abuse. Air sign also regulates the internet and the media, and the way that you see the image that women have in the culture, in the society, in internet and media is quite a very degraded image, right? So that is ruled by the air sign. Earth sign would give you the institutional abuse, religion, family, school, office, also inheritance, because earth sign controls the old money, properties. Okay, so astrological reasons behind becoming a victim of narcissistic abuse. So if someone would have afflicted Sun, Moon, or Rising, they can become victim of narcissistic abuse. All right, now try to see it. Sun is your father. Sun is also your soul. Moon is your mother. Moon is your mind as well. Venus is relationship. Jupiter is family. Mercury is friend circle. So if these planets are in conjunction with malefic planets like Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, Mars, or Pluto, they can become victim of narcissism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if the afflicted planets in the sign of Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, or Sagittarius or Capricorn, they can become a victim of narcissism. So how you can tell that someone could be a victim of covert narcissism? If they have afflicted planets in 2, 4, 8, or 12th house. Okay, so 2 and 4th house is for family. So if they have afflicted planets there, that means their family members are narcissistic. And 8th and 12th house is related to occult, mysticism, spiritual practice, but negatively, they also control, sexual abuse, crime, illegal things, hidden enemies, attacks. Okay, so how you can tell that someone could be victim of overt narcissism when someone has afflicted planets in 3rd, 6th, 7th, 10th, or 11th house. 3rd house is your younger siblings, your friends, colleagues. 6th house is also about your colleagues and the people in your office. 7th house is your life partner and also other people. 10th house is house of social status. 11th house is the house of your network and also income, your achievements. So if these houses are afflicted, you can become a victim of overt narcissism, like corporate politics. Like you can get bullied in the school.
Oh.
Okay, so next we talk about the soul contracts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So narcissistic people and the victims might have kind of soul contract. Either they made it consciously or unconsciously. They might have some karmic relationship. Now, I'm going to discuss about the meaning of karmic relationship. The meaning of that is simply extreme energetic entanglement. Now, let's try to talk about that in detail. What is karmic relationship? It's an extreme kind of energetic entanglement between two or more souls in the quantum realm that keeps them repeating patterns over multiple lifetimes until they consciously detangle themselves from the entanglement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you ask me what would be the right meaning of karma or karmic, karma is action. Karma doesn't mean balance, right?
Okay.
Karmic means a situation that requires a lot of action or effort to bring balance and harmony of that situation. It could be poverty, health issues, dysfunctional relationship. So karmic doesn't mean that you need to suffer and let your abuser abuse you because you had done something in the past. It simply means that you need to put in more effort to solve a problem. Right, so if I give you this example of this entangled headphones wires, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you might have done this consciously or unconsciously. Now, what do you need to do to detangle this?
One wire at a time.
Right, right. Okay, so if I could show you how the entanglement might look like in the energetic field with this energetic cords vibrating at a certain frequencies. I mean, I'm just trying to give you a real life picture here.
Sure.
All right, now let's try to look at this. Our physical reality is a mirror projection of our inner belief system, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what happens with the victims of narcissism is they are vibrating at a frequency of fear and victimhood, conscious. They tell themselves that I'm unworthy of unconditional love. I'm always attracting abusive people towards myself. No matter how good I am, I always attract bad people towards myself. And that's why they see the outer reflection in the world as these narcissistic people. I mean, because if you know you are in the middle and you are surrounded by broken pieces of the glass, that's how the universe is, right?
Right.
You know the idea of the shards of the mirror, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what happens for the narcissistic people, what kind of reality they see themselves. All right, so they see themselves as a very, they see themselves as bigger than what they are, right? Because of the grandiose ego.
Yeah.
So this is the reflection that they get. So through other people, they want to get the reflection that I am better than others. I deserve everything. I deserve more than others. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why do you attract narcissistic people towards yourself? Is because of you have what they need. Now, what could be those things? It could be your fear frequency, because you have a fear frequency that attracts abusive people like a magnet, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might also have compassion that, again, attracts, it acts like a magnet and attracts abusive people to take advantage of. You might have money or beauty or good looks or career success. Again, those things could be food for narcissistic people. All right. You might have creativity. You know how a lot of the musicians, they get manipulated by these record labels. The record labels, they take almost like 60% of the total revenue when they sign up with an artist, right?
Mm-hmm. Horrible.
Right. So it's almost moths get drawn to the light. All right, now let's try to see what happens in a narcissistic person's chakras. So as you can see, their root chakra is negatively overactivated. They're abusive to others. And the sacral chakra is also negatively overactivated. They connect with people in a very unhealthy way. They violate other people's boundaries. And they have extreme level of self-hatred as well. That's the reason why they keep insulting other people. Or it could be the opposite, that they love themselves too much, and that's the reason why they don't have any love left for other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with the solar plexus chakra, it's just magnified beyond the right proportion. So they have, you know how when a bright light shines up, it makes the other lights around quite invisible, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly what happens.
Oh.
They have less compassion in the heart center. Okay, and in the throat chakra is also negatively overactivated. Their upper chakras are also quite imbalanced because they think abnormal things. Their thinking, their behavior is quite abnormal and absurd. Now let's try to look at the victim chakras. They have negatively underactivated, or in some cases, pretty much blocked up root chakra. So they take actions, but to serve the narcissistic person, not to defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're also like taking out the abuse from the narcissistic person. In the sacral chakra, they're quite contracted. They have, the narcissistic person groomed the victim to develop self-hatred and to develop love and admiration for the narcissistic person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then their solar plexus chakra is quite contracted because they don't have the self-esteem and confidence. Then their heart chakra is beyond the normal proportion. They have a lot of compassion for others, especially to serve the narcissistic person, but they don't have much compassion left, or they're not allowed to have compassion for themselves. Again, the throat chakra is quite blocked up or underactivated. They can't talk about abuse. They are always victim groomed to keep their mouth shut. And their upper chakras are quite imbalanced because they're manipulated and they go through extreme level of emotional destabilization. Okay, now let's try to see the side-by-side comparison between a victim of narcissism and the narcissistic person. You can see the comparison, right?
Mm-hmm. Basically, complete opposite.
Yeah, exactly. That is the reason why they attract each other like magnets. All right. And what I'm trying to say here is a narcissistic person's chakra might look like this as well. I mean, they have less self-worth. So in order to increase their personal power and self-worth, what would they do? They would leech onto the victim, their supply, rob them, either financially or emotionally or somehow else to feel good about themselves, right? To increase their personal power. Then the heart chakra is quite negatively overactivated. They have insecurity about themselves. They hate themselves and they're like dark empaths. They take the pleasure by abusing someone else. So in order to feed that heart chakra, they need to again increase their solar plexus by leeching onto their supply, right? Now let's try to look at the chain reaction in chakras of a narcissistic person. So the root chakra is negatively overactivated. They're control freak, they're abusive to others. With the sacral chakra, they have unhealthy attachment with people and things, with the car, with their academic or career achievements. They have dysfunctional relationships with everyone. They have extreme level of self-obsession. In the solar plexus, they have extreme superiority complex. They have grandiose ego. In the heart chakra, they have lack of empathy and compassion for others. With the throat chakra, they're verbally abusive. And when they talk, they lie and manipulate others. And what happens in the third eye is they wear a false personality to fool others. They know how other people's brain work, and they want people to perceive them in a certain way, and they wear the false persona. And they live in a delusional world. They live in a fairy tale. They feel like I'm the king of the world. So what happens in their crown chakra is they are quite intelligent, but they use their intelligence to manipulate and gaslight other people. I mean, just try to understand. These people, when they use their children and life partner, and they don't see any discrimination, like they're preying on a sick person or poor person or whatever, or a child that is unable to defend themselves. And the way they manipulate, gaslight, and abuse others is quite absurd and inhuman. All right. So chain reaction in chakras of a victim of narcissism, again, their root chakra is negatively overactivated or underactivated. They're unable to defend themselves. They feel insecure and ungrounded. They attract toxic people, unhealthy attachment. They have little to no boundary. There is imbalanced give and take in relationship. In their solar plexus, they lack personal power and independence. In the heart chakra, they do people pleasing. They might become codependent. They are disconnected with their own emotion and needs, and they have trust issue. With the throat chakra, they are unable to say no to people. They're unable to ask for help. They're also afraid to talk about abuse to other people. With the third eye chakra, they have lack of intuition. They ignore the red flags of the narcissistic people and their emotional dysregulation that happens because of the manipulation. And because they also develop CPTSD or BPD and also might have sleep disorder. With the crown chakra, what happens is they have lack of rational thinking. They make poor decisions and they can get manipulated very easily. Now let's try to see how to heal narcissism with energy healing. Okay. So as you know that our physical reality is a mirror projection of your inner beliefs, right? So you need to get out of your victimhood mentality. You need to develop your soul self-worth. You need to develop your personal power. You need to be financially independent, socially independent, and also like on a soul level, spiritually claim your sovereignty. Now you need to change your belief system about yourself, about other people, and about relationship dynamics, because previously you used to believe in toxic relationship that, okay, love can coexist with abuse, but now you have to get out of that. You need to understand that love doesn't have to coexist with abuse. Love can be harmonious and with healthy boundaries. Now, what will happen after you will heal your chakras? That should be the balanced state of your chakras. With the root chakra, you will be able to defend yourself and also restrict yourself from any kind of toxic engagement. With the sacral chakra, you will attract positive people towards yourself and have healthy attachment with people, will have healthy boundary and have balanced give and take in relationships. With the solar plexus, you will have personal power and independence. With the heart chakra, you will have your own emotion and needs met first. With the throat chakra, you will have healthy communication. With your third eye, you'll have spiritual awareness and you will be able to identify the red flags and you will be able to let go of the ego of this third dimensional life and understand that we are more than this body and this identity. We as a soul, we are capable of being everything and we are everything. We have everything, all the power. So we don't need to feel disempowered about ourselves. With the crown chakra, you will have more logical and rational thinking, and you will be able to take good decisions. So this will be your balanced chakra, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a lot of people be victim of narcissistic abuse for decades, and it's impossible for them to get out of the trauma bond. Why? Because of the extreme level of manipulation. And understand that with abusers, I mean, abusers are not abusive every day. There
No.
are days when the abusers probably were nice to them, friendly to them, supportive to them, but it doesn't really decline and deny the fact that they were also abusive. They violated the victim. They violated the privacy, dehumanized them, abused them. So for a lot of reasons, they get emotionally attached to them. Even when they get out, they are trauma bonded with them and it's draining their life force energy. So what we can do is we can do the cord cutting for them. So in the quantum realm, all the energetic entanglement that you have, you're going to detangle that. So thinking about them will not drain your life force energy. And your power will come back to you. You know how a TV, when you put it on a standby mode, it's still consuming the electricity, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to turn that off in a way that it doesn't consume the electricity. So that's the way it works in the quantum realm as well. So we are going to do the cord cutting so the victim of narcissism can get out of the trauma bond easily. All right, so we have some affirmation to heal from narcissism. So these affirmations are for people who are narcissistic and would want to let go of their narcissistic behavior. So would you read it out for me?
Sure. I let go of all of my lower consciousness behaviors and attachments. There are enough resources in the universe. We don't have to fight for it. I have access to the limitless resources of the universe. I don't need to possess the things in order to be more desirable. We're all a part of the universe. We are perfect and lovable the way we are. We don't have to become anything to deserve the unconditional love of the universe. Other people's needs matter
Beautiful.
as much as mine do. Do you want me to read the whole thing?
You can if you want to.
Sure, I'll finish it off for everyone. I accept the fact that other people can be better than me. Other people's success is not a threat for me because we are all loving children of this universe. I allow myself to be vulnerable and feel the compassion for others in a healthy way. I realize that I am an internal multidimensional being and I don't have to be confined within this third dimensional identity. I am connected with the source. I am whole and complete.
Beautiful. Now let's try to look at some of the affirmation for the victims of narcissism. Would you read it out for me?
I deserve and receive unconditional love and respect from everyone because I am an important part of this universe. Without me, the whole creation is incomplete. My existence in all life forms is important and valuable. I always attract positive people and behavior towards me. My relationships have a balanced dynamic of giving and receiving. I am safe and secure in my relationships. I can prioritize my needs easily. I am accepted and valued just the way I am.
Beautiful. Okay, now I recommend some crystals for the victims of narcissism. First of all, we have clear quartz. Why? Because for our upper chakras and because of the victims, I mean, I'm assuming that they might develop sleep disorder, mood disorder, CPTSD, BPD, social anxiety, panic attacks, triggers, and extreme kind of emotional dysregulation. And to balance that, you need clear quartz because clear quartz is more powerful than amethyst,
Oh, okay.
right? Okay, so then we have our rose quartz because it will be good for your heart chakra and also your sacral chakra. It will help you get out of the self-hatred and allow yourself to love yourself and also attract positive people towards you. Then we have the yellow citrine. It is good for your solar plexus, your personal power. And then we have the tiger eye. It will help you to ground your energy, and it's also good for protection against evil eye and unwanted energy. Next we have is black tourmaline. You can also use black onyx, hematite, or magnetite. They're all very good to ground excessive negative energy because the victim of narcissism, they've been into this narcissistic trauma for so many decades that they have this accumulated negative energy inside the body. It's important for them to ground those energy, release that in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So crystals to avoid for the victims of narcissism would be root chakra related crystals, red carnelian, red jasper, red coral. Why? Because it might make their negatively overactivated root chakra, I mean, more negatively overactivated. Because, okay, understand that when you need to put a fire, you need water, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why for the lower chakras, I would recommend black tourmaline or tiger eye rather than red jasper. And I've seen this with many people. I mean, people who have panic attacks and triggers or CPTSD or BPD, if they would wear the root chakra related crystals, it's even worse. It makes that even worse. They need upper chakra related crystals like amethyst or clear quartz. Okay.
Okay. Makes sense.
So there are some crystal recommendation for narcissistic people. I mean, people that are narcissistic. So I would not recommend lower chakra related crystals here. I would recommend amethyst, selenite, and clear quartz. Why? Because they are all upper chakra related crystals. So these people, they need to balance their brain because the brain is all the time they're thinking about abusive thoughts, abusive behaviors, you know, how to gaslight people, how to manipulate people. And when they would have their upper chakras balanced, the lower chakras will be balanced as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would recommend them these crystals. Okay, so other than energy healing, other ways that you can do to heal yourself is cognitive behavior therapy. You can also connect with supportive groups. You can do the follow-up after your healing. You can also do some spiritual coaching to develop your spiritual awareness. It is for both the victims of narcissism and for narcissistic people. So do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Just all right. So that was a lot of information to take in and a lot of good stuff at that. I know a lot of people that would highly benefit from basically everything that you listed there. But one question that I've heard a lot is like, can a narcissist change and can they become like a normal functioning part of society? Basically do a 180-degree switch in their life?
Well, yes. if they make the effort by themselves.
Okay.
But the thing is, that kind of cases are quite rare.
Okay.
Quite rare, because on a soul level, so like they have chosen to explore the theme of being an abusive person. So although I have seen some people in my practice, especially in my astrology practice, that when the Mahadasha, the time cycle changes, people's narcissistic tendencies decrease, but it doesn't go away 100%. But if you ask me, if someone, like you see people, they leave their corporate job and they live in a secluded life. A lot of them become saints or monks that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it is possible if someone wants to, but if someone is a victim of narcissism, and if you want your narcissistic person to change, I would suggest that you should not wait for them to change. You should do yourself a favor and run and save your life, because changing narcissistic or abusive behavior might take a few lifetime for them. And if they're malignant narcissist, it might take a few lifetime for them. And would you wait? You should not.
No.
Until you give yourself in a sacrificing way, like, okay, this person is exploring a theme and I would just want him to explore the theme by being his victim, and that's a different thing. If you would want to volunteer yourself that way, that's a different thing. But like practically, logically, I would say that let them decide when they want to heal and when and how they want to do that, either with energy healing or with something else or any kind of self-realization thing, whatever. But you should not try to change them or wait for them to change.
That's pretty close to along those same lines as what I would tell them is don't wait. It's not worth the wait if they can. All right. So another common thing that tends to come up is the reoccurrence. Why does it seem that victims of narcissists tend to see narcissistic people everywhere in their life, either continually attracting them in relationships or in work relationships or just bringing them into their life? Why are they seeing them everywhere?
All right, so the first reason for this would be that in the chakras and in their energetic field, also in the soul structure, there's signature vibration of fear, right?
Okay.
There's also signature vibration of those things like I attract abusive behavior or abusive people towards me, or I am unworthy of unconditional love and support. Those kind of frequencies are encoded in their system. That's why they see narcissistic people everywhere. And like I told you, our reality is a mirror projection of our inner belief, right? So whatever energy you have in your soul structure, chakras, in your energetic field, it will show up as the projection in the outer reality. The second reason could be in your subconscious brain, there is some message encoded, like during our developing stage, everything that we're taught, that plays out as autopilot, right? So in the subconscious, it's like imprinted that you are a loser, you don't deserve to be loved. And I always attract abusive behaviors. So during their adulthood, they repeat the patterns of the subconscious belief system, what they went through in their childhood, or also like in their adulthood, because we always repeat the patterns of our subconscious belief system, what we have experienced before, right?
Makes sense.
The third reason would be that everyone in the world, especially because we live in this third dimensional world where we have polarities, right? No one in this world is like angel. I mean, we all go through the process where we have some degree of jealousy, envy with people, right? Especially in school and in our office. So I think everyone has some degree of narcissism to themselves, whether it's like low degree or extreme. And especially you will see that in schools and in offices, people are being jealous of your success, of your good looks, of your money, of your status. And you just become more aware of that. Once you know about narcissism, you can spot them very,
Hmm.
very um easily, very easily and very quickly.
Yeah, this is true.
One
This
more
is
thing,
okay. What's up?
there's a spiritual reason behind the narcissism is because you will keep facing the same problem until you solve that, until you become aware of the problem. So when you become aware of the thing that you are seeing narcissistic people and there is something inside of you that needs to be fixed, you need to heal yourself. So until
Mm,
you heal yourself, you'll keep those people again and again.
hmm. Hmm. And that's what I tell them is it's unfortunate it keeps happening, but there's only one common denominator in all of the relationships. And in all of them, it's always us. We're always that common denominator.
Right.
All right. So another curiosity, why does traditional psychological therapy, why is it not effective? Why is it not helpful to help a narcissist recover from, or sorry, why is it not help? Oh my goodness. Let me rephrase that. Why traditional psychological therapy is not helpful to recover from narcissistic trauma?
Can, can you pause the recording for a while? Right.
So another question that seems to come up in passing conversation, whether it be other clients or with friends, is why is it that traditional psychological therapy doesn't tend to be overly helpful with recovery from narcissistic trauma?
That's because talk therapy has limitations. And psychologists, if you have seen that they focus more on the victims of narcissistic abuse than the narcissist people. And I have seen in my entire life only one or two channels they focus on, encouraging the abusers to heal or to come to healing.
Okay.
You see this, the thing with the psychologists, the therapists, they have taken the initiative to educate people about narcissism and how it is important to go no contact and have boundaries, to be financially independent, to heal themselves and all. And that's great. But I think that they have addressed that there is a problem that you need to solve. And no matter how old you are, you should take initiative to, I mean, step into your personal power and heal yourself.
Right.
So why are not, they are not doing that, to encourage the abusers to take healing and recovery. Well, imagine how the world would have become if they have, encouraged the abusers to take healing and try to market it in a way that they will feel comfortable to go for healing. Because as much of the narcissistic people that I see, they are living in hell. They are
Mm-hmm.
living in agony, that they need to own everything. If they can't, they feel the agony and it's endless.
Mm-hmm.
So they can get a lot of comfort if they heal from that, recover from that, right? So I would really encourage all the therapists and psychologists that are watching this video that you also in a program try to encourage these narcissistic abusers, try to come up with some strategies, whether it's marketing as strategy or communication strategy or any kind of communication, anything that will encourage these narcissistic people to step into this healing journey so they can heal themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. Makes sense.
And talk therapy cannot, narcissistic abuse is soul piercing. It's a deep wound that talk therapy cannot help. You need to connect with the source in a divine way to fill yourself up. Otherwise, no money, no medicine, no food, no comfort will really comfort you from that trauma that you have endured from narcissistic abuse, right?
Right.
And there is no anti-narcissism medicine like antidepressants.
Nope.
Tell me, is there any magic pill like that?
Not not to my
Exactly.
knowledge, no. Okay.
Okay, next question.
Is there any remedies that can be found in, say, astrology for healing narcissism?
Well, there are some remedies, like whatever religion that they believe, whether it's Hinduism or Buddhism, Christianity, they can connect with their God and ask for protection. They can do it if they believe in that. And also, remedies along with the chakra balancing, cord cutting, and cognitive behavior therapy would be beneficial. Only doing the prayer or only doing CBT might not help.
Okay, that makes sense. Um, why is it that narcissistic abuse can lead to a spiritual awakening?
All right. So, like I said before, that narcissistic abuse is something that it abuses your soul in a way that is very abnormal and absurd. So, when that happens to a person, they ask themselves, like, what just happened? That is out of the world. And when they try to tell people, people don't believe them if that's a subject of covert narcissism, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the time, victims also, they ask themselves, they have the self-doubt, like what I endured, what I experienced, what I tolerated. Did it happen to me? Was that even abuse or was it just a bad day? I mean, when they are manipulated and gaslit in a very bad way. So when they try to search for these answers, like why God made me a victim of this, or why the creator created an abuser like this, they want to search for these answers, and it leads to the spiritual awakening. When they're trying to go for meditation, then they find out energy healing, then they might find out astrology. With that, they might find out about soul contract and how to um, revoke some negative soul contracts. And one thing leads to another. Like eventually, they find a way to detangle the entanglement in the quantum realm. And also, like I told you, I think in this episode, you came to know about our human origin, right? Our
Right.
ET ancestors.
Yep.
So these all things are very much connected. One thing leads to another. And I think it leads you to the ultimate truth of the the creator and the creation, like why the creator created this universe and why everything is happening, the war, the racism, the discrimination, and everything. That's the reason why it leads to your spiritual awakening.
Makes sense. What advice would you give somebody who is still living with a narcissist?
All right, so I'm going to advise cord cutting. I'm also going to advise energy healing. Now, cord cutting will not make them fight with each other at all. In fact, they're going to neutralize this energy. You know, like I told you, when a TV is on standby mode, it's not on, but it's still consuming the electricity, right? You just need to
Yeah.
Turn off the power button, and you also need to unplug from the power socket, right?
Right.
That's what you need to do. So cord cutting will neutralize the energy, the energetic entanglement, and they will not like cross each other way to face each other or interact with each other. You'll see that they are not going to be a vibrational alignment to be in each other's reality. So cord cutting is very, very important. Next is energy healing, then chakra balancing, then you need shielding and you need protection.
I think that's some pretty solid advice right there. How about some advice for people that would have to do co-parenting with a narcissist after divorce?
I will advise the same thing for them as well. Cord cutting, energy healing, shielding, and protection, and also try to be aware of the legal system of your country, whatever legal support that it provides to you, and what are the gaps in the legal support system, right?
Okay.
Because narcissistic people might tend to take advantage of that and also try to document everything, try to take evidence of everything. And again, for the child as well, you need cord cutting, energy healing, shielding, and protection.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Well, that is all the questions I think I have for you today. Is there anything else that you're wanting to add to this one?
Now, in the next episode, we're going to talk about how to heal borderline personality disorder with energy healing.
There it is, you guys. You heard it here first. Next episode is going to be healing borderline personality disorder. So make sure to please like, share, and subscribe on whatever platform you're consuming this on, whether or not it's YouTube, whether or not it's Facebook. Your support is always appreciated. If you're looking for Alina's contact information, it will be in the show notes below. Make sure you reach out to her, give her a hi. If you have any other further questions or any curiosities on energy healing, she's the person to go to. I've had many conversations with her. She knows what's up, guys. So on that note, take care, everyone.